Alrighty, so let's talk about that delete button and what we're going to do. Because what are we going to do is we only want to delete. Well, how do we delete? Right? I'd already just removed a minute ago the steps. I guess I could bring them back. It was needed to add. So what do we need to do for delete? Get a reference, right? For delete, we still need to get a reference to the object, which we know we have. We don't, well, in the current row. And then all we need to do is delete it. And we already know how to delete. And in this case, splice deletes the object. So is it really as simple? I'm going to copy that and say delete. Right? We're still listening. We no longer need this. And we're splicing based on only one of them based on the index. Is that really how simple it is? Did you try that? Okay. Let me try it. So if I do two, another one. Okay. So if I do two, and I hit delete on the first one, right? Oh, I have a break point in here, so I get rid of that and let it run. Interesting, right? So let's look at my data right now because it looks like nothing changed, right? So in the array of objects, there is one 0 indexed. It's showing 2. And that's because, yes, it deleted it out of the data, out of the global array of objects, but nothing changed on the page because we didn't write any code to handle that. Do we have existing code that we've written to do that? And the answer is absolutely. And that's part of the reason why writing functions that are well formed and thought through, which takes time, can really make programming easier. Because what do we need to do right now? We need to re-render the table. So can we just call render table? Is it really that simple? Okay. Did you try this? I'll know when you submit it, right? Okay, so if I delete the first one, oh, it does. So that works. What happens if I delete all of them? Oh, in this case, would we want the headings to show up even if we don't have data? And of course, this needs to be cleared. And the answer is no. So how could we do that? So first, that does generally solve the issue. So now how do we get the headings to stop showing up? We saw before here, we said the table output, we cleared it when we came in so we didn't duplicate the entries. Can we use that again? Will that work? Right? It's worth a shot thinking about what it will do. Right? This might have been something you tried. Totally would have made sense. Well, not totally, but that's okay. So if we delete, oh, let's try it again. So if we delete this, it does work, right? That's awesome. It's so funny because actually what I ended up doing, because the other way you could have handled this is here, is if you had nothing, if your length of your my data was 0, then you could have wrote some logic here to just say only if it is not equal to 0. Render the table. Oh, actually, that's the wrong order. Sorry. After you splice it, actually, that's the wrong order. That's right. That is the wrong order, isn't it? Because if I have two of them, if I delete one, deletes both of them. So actually, that doesn't work. Even if we moved it to before. Right? So let's say we deleted this one, and then we deleted this one. We still have the problem. And that's because, and this is important to understand, and one of the things I wanted to talk about was that what we've been writing, I think what conceptually, hopefully you're starting to understand, is we're writing code that operates in sequence, right? So this is operating first, it's clearing, and then it's rendering, right? One of the things I want to help you understand is that for these event listeners, we're actually starting to write asynchronous JavaScript, because what it is that's where it goes back to the stack where I was talking to you about the call stack, is that it completes running the code and then it's just waiting. And asynchronous we often think of as making network calls, calling some API to return data to us. And we have to wait for that to come back to do something. But in this case, event listeners are asynchronous code. So let's go back to this. I just want you to, in your head, start to think about the difference, right? What we've been kind of talking about and processing for the most part is this code that runs in sequence. But we're going to start talking about soon asynchronous code. Okay, so how do we do this? This actually goes back to what I said before, is once we have nothing, once our, right? So I could go ahead and clear this either way on this one, right? We know this is not going to work completely. So why don't we just say if my data dot length is it equal to 0? In that case, is that true, the condition? If it's equal to 0, that means there's nothing in there, right? Okay, just to verify. It's good to so like right now, if I said my data dot length is equal to 0, there's nothing in there. If there's nothing in the data, then what do I want to do? I don't want to do any of this, right? But I want to do it if it's not equal to 0, okay? So now I'm just going to grab this code and put it up in there and format it. I did that kind of quick. So I just want you to think about it. Okay, so now if I hit delete, we do delete that one. If we hit delete again, we do get the output we wanted. Awesome. Awesome possum. All right. Good. So at this point, if you needed to make changes, if you didn't get that, or if you want to implement any of the stuff that I did, if you didn't need to make any changes, then you don't need to commit. But if you did, right, changes updated, and then give me your commit history, and this will be your completion of your second item for week 10. Now on to writing some of your own code. Don't worry, it won't be painful.